The obvious trigger warnings are listed on screen.
But I like to think of myself like the Jon Stewart of the YouTube animation community. I call things out when I feel like I can add something to the conversation.
I don't wanna be alive anymore.
If memory serves, there's also a nude version.
That's disgusting.
And for the record, I assumed Chris knew he was being recorded because it was a call about safety. It only gets worse from here.
If you're going out with someone your own age, you can't take advantage of them.
For some reason, people think I'm unqualified to do this.
You know, I think they might have been onto something. Hello sloppers, welcome back to Slop Live. Have you ever wondered what would happen if an animation critic took on the opportunity to expose serious predator allegations and just didn't know how to switch off of internet funny man mode? Well, that's what we've got here today, because as of last night, as of writing this video, the creator known as I Love Kim Possible a Lot took on the daunting task of exposing two very large YouTube creators in the same 2-hour video and alleging some very serious allegations against both, and proceeded to completely fall flat on her face and ass simultaneously by not treating the subject with any amount of respect. The creators being accused are DAGames, most famous for his original songs based off of video games such as Five Nights at Freddy's, Bendy and the Ink Machine, so on and so forth, and Saberspark, one of the most popular channels in the YouTube cartoon community and the strongest gooner of today. The gist of it is that DAGames is being accused of preying on a minor with a lot of receipts and evidence, regardless of their potential validity, and Saberspark is being accused of sexually assaulting someone 12 years ago with a single twit longer that was posted by a third party. Now in this video I'm not going to go into the validity of the claims themselves, because I'm not really in a position to do that, and I think most of us watching can agree that victims should have their stories heard out and should be supported, and if possible not completely writing someone off as a rapist based on hearsay and no concrete evidence. Because what I actually want to focus on is the absolute state of the video containing all this information, how it is pretty much the textbook definition of how not to do an exposed video with serious topics. This is, without exaggeration, one of the worst videos I've seen on this platform. I am not being hyperbolic, I am not being dramatic. I have seen a lot of terrible exposed videos before, and this is genuinely a contender for the absolute worst. And it shows just how badly a situation and a victim's accusations can be affected when being poorly handled by dipshit YouTubers who care more about entertaining people and clout chasing than actually spreading awareness. Let's just dive right in. This video's tone is fucking rancid. Despite the incredibly serious subject matter that should be handled with the utmost care and respect, I Love Kim Possible a Lot, who I will be referring to as KP for the rest of this video because Jesus Christ what a name, doesn't really seem to give a shit because this video is absolutely chock full of painfully unfunny reaction memes, poor taste jokes, and painfully unfunny sketch comedy that completely obliterates the tone and seriousness of the video and inherently devalues the allegations and how seriously people should take them. Here's a short compilation.
Welcome to another segment of Maybe the Internet Was a Big Fucking Mistake.
Big mistake. Big.
Imagine consequences for your actions. Part 2, Will Ryan is a textbook pedo and probably very unstable person. Sorry, yo. Then child grooming is bad, right?
Well, no shit.
Guess you can be Jerry Seinfeld, who dated a 17-year-old when he was 38.
And she's also 17.
Bold and beautiful.
She's so young, she doesn't realize I'm a predator.
Because you don't want to go to college. It's just shitty and selfish.
Oh, you are just the worst type of person.
Nothing happened. Cool.
Oh, there's a big surprise! I've come to make an announcement! Shadow the Hedgehog is a bitch-ass motherfucker! He pissed on my wife, that's right! He said his dick was this big!
And that's just scratching the surface. When it comes to allegations that are this serious, treating your exposed video like an episode of Seinfeld is probably the worst choice you could possibly make. It's an insult to the victims, it's an insult to the audience's intelligence, and it all reflects poorly on you. KP responded to these critiques shortly after taking the video down by claiming, Guys, this is my first time actually covering a topic of this nature, so sorry if I handled it poorly, which is a complete lie because they already made a video about Lily Orchard which covered these same topics and was handled with far more care than this. And then there's also the fact that you're a grown-ass woman and you should know better than to treat your predator exposed video like a meme compilation. I have no idea what compelled KP to treat the situation as unseriously as she did while pretending she was taking it seriously. And this extends to her activity outside of this video. What some people don't know is that the presentation of this video wasn't some massive oversight. It was a direct result of KP's ego being so inflated that she deluded herself into thinking she was the main character. On her Twitter, she has been hyping this video up for weeks. You heard that right. Hyping it up. Hyping up a video about serious allegations allegations that don't even affect her because I guess she just thought it was funny. Gone on the first day, 72 hours remain. Time to kick some pedo and rapist ass tomorrow, smiley face. Yes, Your Honor, please draw your attention to the YouTube poop I uploaded last week. What other reason is there for this that's somehow more charitable than you finding it funny? Because that's bad enough on its own. The only other alternative is that the entire time you were making this video, you were rubbing your hands together like a cartoon villain and fantasizing about how much clout you were gonna get from taking down 2 channels of over 1 million subs and beating down on predators. I like to believe in the best in people, and personally, I think the best I can see in you is that you just found the entire situation hilarious. But I'll leave any other interpretation up to the public, I guess. This shit is so f***ing cringe, Jesus Christ, there should be an award for being this tactless. It's Expose Week, just call me Moses cause I'm about to bring down some plagues. And then she attaches some fan art a person drew of her where she's portrayed as Moses holding up the Discord commandments. Stop hyping up a video about predator allegations, you fucking buffoon. You are not Kendrick Lamar. And we're still not done when it comes to her complete lack of tact with this situation. KP managed to get a good few people to provide their voices to narrate certain parts of the video, with some people you might actually recognize, like June the King for example. However, it's become very clear that KP was very likely not honest at all about what she needed these people's voices for. Kayla says, the person who provided the voiceover for the beginning of the video, commented on a re-upload stating that KP had not told him what the video was going to be about and what she needed the audio for in the first place. She was completely out of the loop of whatever this was, and only accepted the offer because her and KP were mutuals. Obviously, it's probably a good idea to know what you were working on before sending voice lines over, but this is still incredibly interesting, and unfortunately, it can be backed up with actual proof from a different source. A small YouTuber known as StillDubs was contacted by KP to provide voices for the video as well, only StillDubs ended up declining the offer since KP wasn't in a position to pay them for their work apparently. Yes, 120,000 sub YouTuber has been on the platform for over 10 years, can't be bothered to pay for a handful of lines. Like, holy shit, it would have been like $5–10 at most, but okay. Getting past that hurdle, Stell dumped her DMs with KP on Twitter, and the entire conversation really shows how profoundly unprofessional she is, completely refusing to let Stell in on what is actually being covered and what she needs the voiceover, simply telling them she wants to do a funny voice and describing the video's content as spicy, continuing her complete lack of respect for the subject matter by treating it all like a massive joke and keeping VAs completely in the dark about what they're actually providing their voices for. Now, not every VA used for the video has come out about it so far, at least to my knowledge, but this is a pretty concerning pattern. And then there's the matter of them just taking someone else's audio and using it without permission. Remember that god-awful Sonic fan dub reference she made about Saberspark? Well, you may have noticed that it isn't the original audio from Snapcube, but instead an alternative dub of it from a different person. Now, given this video's use of voice actors, you would probably be under the impression this is someone she hired to do an unfunny skit. But no, it's actually a completely unrelated audio clip from Veggie BLT, where he did a full cosplay of Dr. Eggman while reciting the pissing on the moon bit from the Snapcube dub, and he was completely unaware and was not asked for permission. Now, you may be wondering, what's the big deal? The entire point of making memes is recycling content into something new. Well, considering every other VA featured in this video was signed on to the project, some people are going to assume that this redub of an old Sonic video was made specifically for this video, and it's completely unfair on the creator of the audio given they're a much smaller channel and want nothing to do with this. Which begs the question of why the f didn't you just use the original Snapcube audio? That audio is iconic, everyone using the internet knows where it's from, and there would be no confusion. Why use a smaller creator's dubbed audio and make them feel uncomfortable being tied to a project like this when there is literally no difference between the two besides the completely different voices? Everything about this video is so unprofessional, it is blowing my mind. Alright, let's get into some other issues. This video was not supposed to be about Saberspark. It was originally just supposed to be about DAGames. There have been allegations towards DAGames for a while now that just haven't hit most people's radar since not a lot of people know the full context and haven't been able to make videos about it. KP was originally making a massive expose on DAGames specifically, and it's why for the first hour or so of the video it is just about DAGames with pretty much no mention of Saberspark anywhere to be found. So why is Saberspark here exactly? Well, since this video was premiered on YouTube, it actually has a live chat we can look at where KP admits that most of the video is fully completed before the Saberspark allegations dropped, effectively confirming that she decided to sloppily attach Saberspark's name and allegations to her DAGames exposed video for what reason exactly? These are two very different situations and should be covered in their own separate videos. They have literally no relation to each other. The only factor I can think of is that both DAGames and Saberspark knew and were friends with Black Griffon, someone who was also recently accused of terrible shit like grooming a minor. And while Griffon does play a decent part in both stories here, these situations are way too different to just be thrown together like this, not to mention the massive difference when it comes to the evidence here. I already said I wasn't going to go into the validity of the allegations themselves and just wanted to focus on how they were tackled, but it's so obvious obvious this was originally a DAGames video, and Saber was just slapped into it last minute, because DAGames has a decent bit of evidence against him, whereas Saber currently only has a single twit longer. If KP actually cared about the allegations against Saber, they would wait until more information came out before publishing this video, or just leave the Saber stuff for its own entire video. Saber plays such a minuscule part in this video, by the way, yet he's the first name put in the title, he's in the thumbnail, and KP hyped up his inclusion for weeks. It's almost like Saber was haphazardly thrown into the video and marketed as the main focus purely for clicks and not out of an actual sense of justice or care for the victim. It's clout chasing, and if it isn't, then it certainly comes off that way. And let's not forget, by the way, KP knew about the Saber allegations weeks before they went public. They went public the day this video came out, in fact. So she was just sitting on this information for weeks. And I say she was sitting on this information and not just putting it in the video because she provides no new evidence at all. She provides the victim's testimony, which is basically the extent of what's actually out there, and that's it. Saber should not have been a main focus of this video, and the fact this information wasn't made public for weeks while she pretended to do fuck all to actually look into it for more evidence and justify its inclusion is really dodgy. KP, if the victims are actually telling the truth here about DAGames and Saber, you have done a horrible job and have arguably put them in an even worse position. You know you don't exactly get second chances when it comes to covering serious allegations, right? The first shot is really your only shot, not because someone more competent can come in and set the record straight, but because the general public is fucking dumb. If you screw up the first expose on these people, then that's going to stick, and it's going to harm the credibility of the accusers through no fault of their own. If these people are telling the truth, you have failed these people, and I sincerely doubt any revisions you plan on making to this video when it gets re-uploaded are going to help. You are not in any position to cover subjects like this again, and no victim should ever trust you to spread awareness about their stories ever again. And let's not forget that Courtney, one of the people you had work on this video with you, was spotted in the live chat arguing with and shaming CSA survivors who were not happy with the video's presentation, and how you turn this into a spectacle. If you have such blatant disrespect for the matter of sexual assault and predation that you need to treat your coverage of it as a complete joke, and then one of the people who helped work on this video with you is getting passive aggressive with CSA survivors in the live chat, then how the fuck do you expect anyone to take you seriously ever again? Please, for your sake and the victims, do not cover situations like this again. I don't care that you're working on a revision for the video. Either you hand the topic off to someone who's more qualified, or you simply leave it alone. You had your shot and you blew it. There's some other things I could probably talk about, like how there's a random section about Lily Orchard in this video for literally no reason, or the fact that Chris Chen typed a message in the live chat and everyone thought that was just normal for some reason, but that's basically all I have to talk about here. I'm sure within the coming weeks there will be more developments in the Saberspark and DAGames situations respectively, and whether the allegations are revealed to be true or false is anyone's guess. I just wanted to focus on this video because it is a perfect example of how not to expose YouTubers for serious stuff like this, and how dumbass YouTubers have the potential to completely sabotage the victim's efforts to seek justice if they are telling the truth. It's a gross video, and I hope everyone involved with the production regrets it for the rest of their lives. Anyway, that's the end of the video, and if you've ever suffered at the hands of a predator or abuser, then please take it for the proper channels and authority figures who can help you seek justice, and not a brony YouTuber with a dying channel.